Do you know where she is?
If I knew where she was, I'd tell you. I know you have feelings for Chloe.
What's the matter? Are you getting scared?
Look, Ved, don't make me do this to you.
I wouldn't want the Verts to see me take advantage of a disabled sicko like you!
So, welcome to Series 4, Episode 37 of Conversational Eagle Mountain, a podcast about the tribe. I'm your host, Lance, and joining the podcast panel today is Liz.
Hello.
And Sabine.
Hi.
With episode notes done by Matt and myself. So, Series 4, Episode 37. The screenplay was done by Anthony Reed. It was directed by Ian Moon, and the episode synopsis was read out by myself. Ram and Ved face each other in reality. Siva steps into the firing line, and Pride and May struggle with their recovery. So let's open discussions with Ram giving Ved one last chance to back out of the duel.
So, this is how you want it, huh? Okay. I'll see you in reality space at noon, with all the safeties off.
And if I win, you hand over Chloe.
I don't write the rules, Ved. And like I said, all the safeties are off.
So yeah, let's start with that. How did you make of the general premise of the fight?
I seriously believe at this point that they made Ved mock Ram's disability just so we would hate Ved. Might just be me, but
it's possible. But it is also, it works because it's believable that many of the technos might feel that way about Ram. I mean, from the start, there's been something comical about him in this chair, ordering everybody about. Even the choreography has spoken to it, how everyone has to get down at his level, and I would not be surprised if there was quite a bit of resentment at this person. And when someone pisses you off, you're going to hit them at the lowest point where it counts, and it makes sense for someone like Ved to say it to him and to feel that way deep down inside when he's this emotional. But yeah, I don't put it past him to also have given him an icky line like that when they usually don't address disabilities in the show. Just because, to make him look bad.
Yeah, that's why I noticed it in this way. It was just a little bit out of what they normally do.
Yeah. Especially with how much Ved has idolized Ram.
Yeah,
it just felt a bit weird to me.
Because, I mean, Ram is obviously the one in the wrong here in this conflict. Nobody believes he didn't have something to do with Chloe disappearing, and what Ved's asking for isn't unreasonable. The things he's called Ram out on are not unreasonable, So how do you make Ved look like the bad guy? Go for the low blow. Have him say something offensive.
At least the next question. Why? What do you think is the purpose of Ram not stating that he has Chloe? I don't understand what I'm trying to accomplish here.
I don't know.
They don't want us. They don't want us to keep thinking about Chloe and where she might be, and what might have happened to her, and where he might be keeping her.
Well, that's what this whole fight is about. So to kind of keep playing off like, oh, does he know where she is or not? It's like, well, we know he does because he did that stupid maniacal laugh in the last episode. It's like, stop playing it like mysterious. You know what I mean? It's like, it's an odd choice. I don't quite get it.
Again, I told you, I really feel like how they handled Chloe was very vindictive, and it just gets worse because I'll get into it later. But so it's like, let's just take a huge dump on what he and Chloe had. For any fans who shipped them, care about the storyline, we're not going to commit to the fact that Ram is obviously responsible for Chloe going missing, and that Ved has every right to want her back and to be fighting for her and to confront his boss about what he's done. They're not even going to give you that. It's almost like they want to pretend these two are on equal footing. Like it's a both sides thing. it's totally not.
Yeah, as if.
Like part of my brain wants to maybe give the writer some credit. Like maybe there was a point to it. Maybe it's part of Ram's characterization, but I'm kind of too tired to give them that kind of credit. I'm just like, no, I'm too exhausted to try. I really do think it was just the backstage stuff seeping into the script.
Mm-hmm.
Sammy, look out!
Siva!
Meanwhile, Mouse hunts down Sammy with Siva's weapon, but Siva takes the shot in order to save him. In the aftermath, Pride has a lot of blame to throw around. Sammy for taking Mouse into the game, Mouse for stealing Siva's weapon, Siva herself for leaving lying around. Siva, however, agrees with his assessment, but Sammy yells at Pride for his treatment of Mouse and tells him to back off. So yeah, what do you make of Siva's moment of selflessness and all that followed?
I'm happy with Sammy. Thinks that's yeah.
There are some things to like about the scene. I will give them a teensy bit of credit for allowing the tension to start to build. We knew Mouse had got the zapper in the last episode. Nice cliffhanger there. You just gave a child a loaded weapon, that's nice. And they don't immediately resolve that tension as soon as the episode starts. They actually let it linger a little bit, which they are clearly really bad at this season.
Yeah.
So it's actually interesting. It gets you invested as she's stalking through the mall, just playfully calling for Sammy with no idea of the danger she's holding in her hands. We know that she's not looking to actually harm her friend. She just wants to get her lick back because he zapped her in a game and she's going to do the same. Ha ha, I got you, But we know what could happen. We know how dangerous these things can be, It's even implied that somebody was killed with one of these things. So I like that. They let it linger, they let her almost get caught with it, and then she gets away with it. Lex is just like, get out of my face. No one's cooking you breakfast. And then she goes right back to stalking Sammy. So you're just like, oh, okay. So that was actually a nice change of pace, the tension there. I do love the fact that Siva was so determined to protect Sammy, she body slammed him in the ground and knocked him unconscious for a couple of seconds. I was like, that is commitment. Like Sammy came too, like, what's going on? Like she slammed his head into the floor to protect him. Like, go Siva. She had to have known how high she had that laser up to. So I actually enjoyed that. I found that really cool. I thought the staging was pretty decent, and again, that is a stunt. She had to slam that poor actor into the ground.
Yeah.
Poor Lucas. I hope there was a mat down there. Tiny bit of attention because Siva doesn't come to right away. So there's that. The argument has its high points and its low points. It felt like a group of people going at each other. I actually thought the dialogue was well placed and it did feel a little natural as they were talking over each other, and it was very rapid fire, and I appreciated that because sometimes they have trouble making the flow of the conversation feel natural when a bunch of people are arguing. So I liked that. Let's see. Siva's self-actualization, a moment of realizing she brought a dangerous weapon into the mall, and she knew. I mean, the minute she saw Mouse with it, her instincts kicked in. She knew how dangerous this thing was, and Sammy going off. Kudos, Sammy. I like that Sammy is very self-aware of why Mouse did this and that she wasn't trying to hurt anyone and that she's 6. And maybe if you guys supervised her better, this wouldn't have happened, you know? And I liked that through the argument, while everyone's going back and forth, it's very clear that Pride's manic energy is the center of it. So that it didn't come out of nowhere because we've seen Pride, obviously, he's barely holding it together. So I just thought they kind of handled that pretty well. Not bad. Lots to like, lots to laugh at.
How on earth can I argue with that?
Difficulty.
It's kind of the highlight. I mean, and it's not like it's the most amazing thing, but it's kind of the highlight of the episode, you know?
It just made me happy to see Sammy instantly going for, leave her alone, she's just a kid.
Yeah.
Well, he just saw Siva go down with that zapper, knowing fully well it could have been him. But he knows what he did wrong before this. He knows what Mouse was up to and what her intentions were. And not a lot of boys his age would have.
I know I shouldn't think about these things. But I assume it wasn't undone, and she did get lasered in the arse. I'm not sure because she wasn't knocked out cold from the start. I shouldn't care. Forget I even mentioned it. It doesn't matter.
We know the strength of the lasers is arbitrary. So
yeah.
They're just as strong as they need to be at any given time.
We'll leave it. Yeah.
I did like the simple things they put with it, though. Like Siva being unable to sit down and Lex trying to keep a straight face. That's where you got hit.
Yeah, it's way to take the edge off of what just happened. 1 minute you're saying Siva could have died, and then let's make a joke about her getting hit in the ass. Okay. I guess she's fine. She's fine. Sammy would have been fine, I guess.
Yeah, it did feel like there was a lot of that actually through this whole episode, immediately diffusing the serious situation in order to make it more palatable. It's quite a few instances through the whole episode where I kind of felt that.
Yeah.
I wonder if they had to.
I know.
It's just
so inconsistent.
Yeah.
It depends on who was judging on the other side.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. She's fine. Everybody's fine. Pride's off his rocker.
So he's
we
fine.
know that what it accomplishes. We know how good friends Sammy and Mouse actually are.
Yep.
And Siva gets in good with the group. That's what it accomplished. Ta-da!
Hey, that's one surefire way to score points with Celine.
Yep. Very. It resolved a few things. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. Moving on.
That's probably my favorite actual scene of the whole episode when Sammy goes to Mouse and just tries to comfort her. I was like, oh.
Make peace. I like that. Well, if anything came out of it, these two are really great friends.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At the hospital, Dee and Patch report to Jay that their patient is doing well, but that without more antibiotics, the infection will return and she could die. With no influence remaining with Ram, Jay suggests they ask Celine to bend Ebony's ear.
Celine, you may not have noticed, but nobody's making that stuff any longer. Stocks are running out, and most of what's left is past its use-by date and useless.
Well, Ram's got some. I know he does.
He needs them. For himself.
So yeah, panel, what did you make of Celine's push for more medical supplies?
Oh my god. Okay, first of all, I could not care any less about this hospital. But let's dive in, right? We got Jay Jay's just useless, okay? I don't know why you're here, dude. You are so pointless to both sides of this conflict. Right? 2, how did none of you foresee that you wouldn't have a ton of medicines? I
understand.
I don't understand how this wasn't already something they knew they would have to deal with when Celine first wanted a hospital. What, did you think that because, Jay apparently came to you and told you, hey, don't worry about it, the technos are going to set up the hospital, in the scene we never got to see, that you just thought that there'd be miracle cures coming out of the sky? When Celine first said, we want a hospital, the technos weren't going to have anything to do with it. So what was she going to do about medicine then? What had been the original plan about taking care of these kids without the technos intervention?
Maybe she had the delusional hope that Pride had similar types of knowledge as Tysan did. I said
And
delusional, but...
it blows my mind that these kids have been surviving in this world for this long and have had to learn, we've watched them learn to use alternative medicines and have to accept, unfortunately, that there are just some things they have to wait out and hope for the best. Okay. And yet here we are acting as though this is a new concept, that there are just no medicines being made. Celine needs someone to tell her that. She has to have that said to her face that nobody is manufacturing this stuff anymore. And Celine is disappointing me as city leader. First of all, I don't know why Patch and them are even going to Jay. I don't know. He's and he has to tell them, why don't you talk to your freaking city leader? And she has the audacity to go to Ebony. And Ebony has to put her straight. Celine thought she was cooking when she was going off on Ebony. And Ebony's like, you wanted this job, first of all, you idiot. I don't know why you're bringing this to me. Go handle it. Take the responsibility that you so wanted so badly and go talk to Ram. I don't think she does she?
Nope.
No, she doesn't go to Ram. It's just a whack-a-mole of asking the wrong people to solve a problem that you took on yourself. So, this whole plot is just so dumb. I hate it. I don't care.
I feel like it could have been easily saved if there had been like a scene early on where the Morats just believed that the technos were manufacturing medicines because with all their technology that they have in the planes and stuff.
Yep.
It could have been easily, and then they just found out, oh wait, no, they don't. So that would have been the drop. But
no, we have a collection, but we're not manufacturing
right.
them.
Even if she had just mentioned that but I thought you guys were doing this. Would have helped. But...
That would have saved, yeah. I don't know what Celine's thinking.
Once again, I hate that they're making me Team Ram, because if there's a finite amount of medicines available in the world, okay, and it's very clear that Ram's got problems. He's got issues and he needs medication for, and the demand that he give up what he needs for her hospital that she wanted to put together and said, I'll handle it.
Yep.
It's just this entitled, like, why can't he give us his medicines? And everybody's like, because he freaking needs them.
She's like, not even some of it. She's like, give it to all the hundreds of kids that need it. Like, how much medicine do you think he's got?
It blows my mind that Patch and Dee are having this conversation about antibiotics with Jay. Like, I mean, she's gonna need more, and it's like, duh! Like, that's how medicines work, you guys.
Yep.
None of you thought of any of this when you were like, let's make a hospital. And again, I'm just like, why aren't we talking about the alternative medicines that you've actually learned along the way? Mm-hmm. You know, that, again, this is why Pride was useless, because he clearly didn't teach them anything. Because Pride wasn't trying to make a better world. He was just raging against the machine the whole time. Right? And I'm just like, that was one of the fun things in the earlier seasons, was seeing them come up against these problems and, figuring out other ways to deal with them, other ways to solve them, and dealing with the very real repercussions of living in this world, and they're not even trying to find an alternative way to deal with these problems now, because this is the tech era, so natural medicines don't exist. there are ways to deal with infections that don't require our modern day medicines. I'm not saying they're perfect, but they exist, and like nobody. You literally have a tree hugger guru living with you, and none of this has come up. It's they just keep the technos are the answer to everything, and it loses its creativity in their problem solving.
If only Jack and Dal had been here.
They hate the technos, but right, exactly. Once upon a time, how do we get ourselves fresh water? They had to solve that problem. They had to solve how to get power, all kinds of things. They freaking cured the virus that had killed the adults, for Pete's sake. They got creative. They had to look for answers. But now it's like, no, we hate the technos, but we will lean on them every time we get in trouble. Like, oh my word. Like, I hope your hospital burns down. And I'm supposed to care about this girl in bed because Jay cares about her. I don't.
But not enough to go back to Ram himself.
No.
Exactly. He doesn't care, and he's like, I'm so desperate to save her. Oh, but it would be useless talking to Ram. You guys could try it, though.
Yeah, let Celine handle it. He seems capable.
He can't talk to Ebony because they're butthurt at each other. You know what I mean? Like, he cares so much that he's doing nothing. He's just sitting by her bedside. That shows how devoted he is, you guys. He's so devoted.
Even Bray was more useful.
Of course. We should just call him Sideline J from now on. He is useless, seriously.
No wonder Ram doesn't even care that he's not on the job.
Yeah, when was the last time Ram asked for him? Like, don't need you, really.
Yeah. Don't worry, the army's doing fine without you.
Yeah, he's just a poster boy.
So, the main event. Ram and Ved's fight is broadcast on CityNet to an engrossed crowd, with Ram soon emerging victorious. Though Ved tells him to finish it, Ram however spares Ved, with Siva pointing out that Ram still needs him. Ved is nevertheless badly wounded and is taken to the hospital, which is no fun for anyone concerned. So panel, what did you make of the Star Wars sprinkled Jedi fight scene? And yeah, did you feel that the all safeties off had the impact that it was really supposed to have?
First of all, that's not how you hold a lightsaber, people. Have you learned nothing?
A disgrace to nerds everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Where to start on this?
Where to start?
Okay, the pure white techno uniforms. Let's start with it. What did you make of that?
I think all the budget and the stunt choreographer was used on that gladiator fight because it never gets better than that one. The stunt guy did not show up for this lightsaber fight.
Hell, the special effects were gone.
That music, did you hear the music? How hard it is working to make this seem epic?
Right, yep.
It's trying so hard. This is poorly directed, poorly choreographed. It's boring. Now, I get it. They clearly didn't have the budget for it. So they put them in a black room with the white outfit so they'd stand out because they had nothing. They didn't have a set to put them on that could be visually interesting. They didn't have the choreography, and the editing is very choppy to hide the fact that this is bad fight choreography. And I mean, the actors are doing the best they can, you know? But the most interesting thing about this fight for me was literally Siva and the kids reacting to it. Like, I enjoyed them because they made me believe they were watching something very awesome.
True.
Those guys were acting their butts off. Like, I wish I was watching what they were.
It's just
like, what can we say? It's corny, and maybe it's corny in an enjoyable way. You know, I'm sure there are people who just find it fun because it is so corny. I wish I cared more because Ved does have a quote unquote righteous reason to be there. he may be a bad boyfriend, but he wants his girl back. And he believes his boss has done something terrible to her. And he would know because he's helped him do terrible things to people, and he don't want Chloe anywhere near that. So I wish I cared more about what Ved's fighting for. And the safety's off. I even kind of like the fact that Ram wasn't interested in actually killing Ved. He's messing with him to teach him a lesson. So, I kind of like that. As Siva said, he needs Ved, but he needs to keep him in line. That seems very Ram coded. But this is where the treatment of Chloe comes back up and makes me so bitter. I get it. You needed to keep Ved a little longer to close off that storyline. Him dying in this fight is how you should do it. So why does he still get to stick around?
Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying this because I wanted Ved gone. I'm simply saying that if the reason both of these actors were written off the show is because they both did something they weren't supposed to, and you removed them out of punishment, blah, 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 contracts broken, why is Ved still here? This would have been a very poetic way to end that storyline. It would have been a poetic and tragic way for their little Romeo and Juliet thing to end. And it would actually, give Jay some freaking motivation because he's got nothing going for him right now. If there are no hearts to break, he's useless. And it's like, but no, instead he doesn't die in this fight. The safety's off was just a red herring to make us and Ved be worried. And it's going to drag on. Hit me how long Ved's going to stick around.
That was my question for you, because I generally thought, from my memory, that this was it for Ved. So
yeah, I was actually surprised.
What actually happens?
I was like, wow. Ram ends up getting sick and going into a coma, and Ved and Java are trying to save him, and Ved's got to go into the virtual world and speak to his inner child or something, and just to bring him back. And then when Ved does disappear, it's unceremonious. There's no scene for it. He's just, he makes it almost to like the climax of the season. Why did he get to stay and Chloe had to go?
I always thought he was gone after this. That's what I remember.
That's what my memory was.
I was like, wow, I don't think Ved actually disappears until very close to the climax. And that's when Jay realizes, where's my brother? They've taken Ram down and he can safely go back and deal. Because remember, he goes back to the city. He betrays Ebony and their promises they made to go get Ved. So Ved was still there, when he left the city. Like, Ved stays around for a while, and then when they do get rid of him, it's unceremoniously. We have no idea what happened to him. I think we get like a screen with the word deleted or something stupid like that, and it's just like, so why was Chloe treated so
wild?
unfairly?
I don't get it. I genuinely thought this was it. This is how Ved goes, and my memory was just distorted. Why was he kept on then? I don't
get it. You could have had him go out in a blaze of glory, fighting for his woman, and instead, he's going to stick around. He's going to help the man who's responsible for her being gone. Granted, he's still trying to get Chloe, but it's still just, it doesn't have the punch that if Ram had taken him out here, that would have cemented Chloe and Ved as having earned their status as that tragic couple. He freaking died to try and save her. You know what I mean?
Maybe that's what they realized while filming, that it would give Ved too much credit.
It's just, and if you're gonna keep him around for the rest of the season, why not just do the storyline with him that you instead gave to Slade and Mega? I don't get it. I don't understand what the reasoning was here.
I don't think we'll ever understand.
Because Ved gets his ending doesn't make sense either.
Yeah, I've just got so many questions now because I thought this was it for Ved. So just odd. Okay, in the aftermath that follows, Java suffers a blow when Ram summons Ebony to attend him after his victory, despite her still active cold. This also leads to a conversation about discipline, which is all that Ram really wanted to do to Ved.
I thought you were going to destroy him.
I couldn't delete Ved. I just needed to teach him a lesson, show him who's boss around here.
Well, you sure did that.
I never thought he'd go through with it. That kid, he's got guts. Where's Ebony? I want her here to share the glory.
You can't.
What do you mean I can't?
She still has a cold.
Don't tell me what I can do. Go and find Ebony and bring her to me. Now!
As I mentioned, I think the discipline conversation is, a bit interesting. Insight to Ram, and at least is some proof that, instead of just telling us he needs Ved, they showed us that he needs Ved. He had the opportunity to get rid of him and didn't do it. And maybe he's even very fond of Ved. The way he speaks about it, like he never thought he'd go through with it. Even Java thought he would have finished Ved. She thought he was going to kill him, and he's just like, no, I had no intention of doing that. I just didn't think he would take it this far. I needed to keep him in line. It does speak to a fondness that he has for Ved. That's his protege right there. But he can't have him questioning him. He can't have him, challenging him and stuff like that. That's interesting insight into Ram and his interpersonal relationships. I do not care about the stuff with him and Ebony. You can keep telling me that he's relying on her and she's having influence on him, but we're not actually seeing Ebony do anything. She just keeps massaging this guy's shoulders. I thought the whole point of her taking this deal with him is so she'd have some influence, some power, be his equal. And it's like, okay, but she's doing nothing with it. She's not actually seeing how much power she had. Trudy did more when she was a chosen, and she was a kidnapped victim of a cult. Okay, and even she was challenging the Guardian to see how much power she had, how much influence she had, and what she could do with it. Ebony is just kind of like tiptoeing around, doing nothing, no ambitions. Why should I give a crap about this? Like, if I was, I'd be just as disgusted as Java. Like, are you freaking kidding me? Java at least has actual conversations with Ram, you see Java, like, trying to influence him in certain ways and challenging him and stuff like that. What the heck is Ebony doing? And that's supposed to convince me that she's winning him over. And, she's the one you should talk to get to Ram. Are you freaking joking? She could be trying to put him in an early grave. Yep. I'd respect that. You've never shied away from killing people before, Ebony. Take the opportunity. Get rid of this guy. She tried it before.
Infect him with something.
Anything. Nope.
Cough on the guy.
She's just going to give him dirty looks when he's not, like, facing her to let us know she hates it here. She's as close to her enemy as she could possibly get. And she's not taking the shot.
Can you imagine, had he been Jaffa? That little bit of poison.
Oh, she botched that one too. She decided to talk him to death first.
She could have learned from that.
Decided to monologue him. But this is the same woman who, when she realized that he was in the black room, she snuck in there and tried to mess with the computers in a way to do something to him. That's a bold move. And now she doesn't even have to risk herself to get close to him and do something to him. And no, she ain't got any plans.
Yeah, cool. That brings us to our final thoughts of the episode. Pride and May are both still in a very bad way after exposure to reality space. And by the end of the episode, Pride has succumbed to temptation and gets himself scanned for the game. How did you react to Pride's actions?
Bloody hypocrite.
Well, a lot of addicts are, so.
It's such a big change, though. From in the beginning, how shocked he was at what they did to Amber. Everything they did to Amber. And what's he doing now? Twisting the screws into his own head.
Well, again, this is all supposed to be a metaphor for addiction and how it strips away what makes us who we are, and hurts the people around us, and on and on. And they're really leaning into the addiction metaphor, and they will continue. So I guess it works on that level. He does despise the addiction. He does want to beat it. It pains him to see someone else he cares about going through the same withdrawal process and the same delusions. And he's torn between hating it, but also he can't sleep. He's dreaming about it, and it was a stressful day. And when you cannot find any other way to cope with your stress, you fall back on the one thing that did make you feel good, even though you hate it and you know it's bad for you. So again, as an addiction metaphor, I think it works. At least in Pride's case, you know, again, it's not consistent across the board for, you know, everybody who gets thrown into this and has massive exposure to it. And they don't explain why it affects some people more than others. And I suppose if you liked Pride, this would be crushing to watch because you'd obviously be rooting for him to beat this. And then to see him get back in that chair, jonesing for it. I got these cheeseburgers, man. You know what I mean? And so if you really liked him, this would be hard to watch your character going through this. Like, man, he's down bad.
Is there anyone left though who still really likes Pride?
I'm sure they're out there. I'm sure they're out there. So let's just speak up for those 3 people.
We got you.
We got you. We understand.
We used to be you until we did this rewatch.
We used to love him too. Right. You know, I think the scene with May has some merit. And again, Laura Wilson is doing a really good job. You know, just what it brought her, you know, the confusion, the in some ways she was able to enjoy the fantasies she never actually even had with Pride in real life. Sure, they slept together and she fantasized that it meant more to him than it really did, you know, ignoring what was right in her face the whole time as he played her, you know, and yet in reality space, it was perfect. He loves her there, you know, and she wants to be there and she's just drifting in and out, and that's scary to watch, you know, and the way they're trying to placate her to keep her calm and get her to rest. And she's swinging from the nice things of reality space, like being in love with Pride, to the game. Is it time for me to rest, to go back to the game? And if you consider that May's been going through this since the day she was taken, that's messed up existence. We saw what it did to Amber, and they only had her for what, a week? A few days, you know? But May, this is the whole season that this has been happening to her.
I can't think of anything to stretch this out.
Yeah, let's call a spade, guys.
Things happened and that was it.
There's some memorable moments, for good or ill. And that's it.
If Tamsin had been here, we would probably discussed the how and why of the white outfits. To stretch it out a bit.
Got another record breaker here.
That's it. Okay. That brings Series 4, Episode 37 to a close. Thank you very much to the panel, and you can show your support by clicking on that like and subscribe and following us on all the major platforms. You can also leave us a comment or get in touch if you'd like to take part in a future episode of the podcast yourself. Just search for thetribe.co.uk or Conversations on Eagle Mountain. You can also throw us a donation. Just head on over to buymeacoffee.com/thetribe.co.uk. And we'll see you next time for episode 38. Until then, bye.
Bye.
Bye.